if a king did not know that he is a king, and then walked in the streets and was ordered around by servants and obeyed, simply because he does not know who he is. And that's the beauty of life. Knowing who you are will place you in a place where nobody can take advantage of you. You know your worth. You know what you can do, because once you know who you are, then you know what it is you're meant to do. And nobody will take you around. And it makes decision making very easy simply because you know who you are. When you look at the life of Christ, he knew who he was, and he kept on saying it. He would say, I am the light of the world. Very bold statements. People probably back then thought, this guy is so braggadocious. Hey, that's a good English word. Check it out. They thought he was bragging. But all he was saying is who he was. He knew who he is. And he knew why he was here. And he did what he came to do. You got to know who you are. The reason why you find yourself doing all kind of crazy stuff is because you don't know who you are. You're an eagle, but you've been hanging around chicken for a very long time. So instead of taking flight, you're on the ground, pecking around and eating maize. But you're a bird of prey, a very strong bird at that. You have to know who you are. Once you know who you are, then all the doors that were meant to open for you immediately are open. That's our morning meditation. And we thank God for that, for this beautiful day. We already have the grace and the mercies because they follow us every morning. They are renewed upon us every morning. So we are going to be a blessing to people we come across. We are going to be a door to blessings and to opportunities for other people. The words that come out of our mouths are words of life, not corruption. Words that are going to impact grace into the ears of the hearers. And that's why we are such a blessed people. Well, knowing that this day is going to be awesome, it's going to be beautiful, we thank God for that. And right now we look at some of the things that are happening, quite a number of things happening in our country, and these are the things we are going to meet today and transform, you and I, right? Now, let's take a look at the exams. 4 more KCSE candidates at Shiners Boys High School have been arrested in connection with the killing of a colleague who was stabbed to death on Saturday. According to Gilgil Deputy County Commissioner Willing Cheboy, they were detained at Gilgil Police Station while 5 others at Ambaruk Police Post. He stated that after they sit the exams, they will be arraigned in court virtually at the Naivasha court, where police will seek more days to conclude investigations. He pointed out that more details are emerging after interrogation. As it stands, a total of 9 candidates will now sit for their exams behind bars following the death of their fellow student, Vincent Ngugi, who was stabbed by another student.
And we've been given assurance by our security teams, our investigative arm, that they have done adequate check. They have apprehended the person who is suspected to have been the one who caused the harm and fatally injured the other student. But this morning, the candidate will do the exam from wherever they are. And thereafter, we shall conclude the process. And I'm sure they will be taken to court in the course of time, maybe even as early as today.
It's also good to report that the students who are involved in those fracas that was on Saturday night, there were 3 boys, and the one that did the stabbing, all of them have been arrested. We are also managing so that they also, however much we've arrested them, we also make sure that they do their exams also as the legal system takes.
Well, at least justice is going to be served. It was a very unfortunate incident where a student basically slit the stomach of a fellow student with a dagger, and led to his inner parts coming out. And then the young man just disappears, and when he's arrested, and in his jacket he's got ban. So crazy things happening in some places. But Azimio leaders led by Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa appeared in court to block the implementation of the JKIA Adani leasing deal worth over 1.1 trillion, saying it's a matter of critical importance. The opposition accused the government of state capture, terming the deal unclear and clouded in secrecy. Kalonzo Musyoka also questioned Adani's hand in the Ketraco energy deal and alleged in the Shah Sheikh. The High Court has set the hearing date for November 27th this year.
I think this matter is of critical importance. We are dealing with a critical infrastructure which touches on the national security and the well-being of a nation state called Kenya. We have said before we have no problem with the investors coming to the country, but the way this Adani deal has been crafted, it has all the trappings of what one would call a state capture. Look at Adani as JKIA, Adani in Shaf and Shif, Adani in Ketraco, and the whole thing crowded in secrecy. So we are on record for the petitioners here. In fact, the petitioners in this particular case, Tony Gachoka and political parties, Wiper Democratic Movement, Democratic Action Party of Kenya, and Jubilee Party of Kenya. So that's why we also came, and we are determined to fight over this for the benefit of not just the present generations, but future generations of this country. So there will be transparency. We know that some preliminary objections have been raised by the respondents, in this case, Managing Director of Kenya Airports Authority and the team, the ministers and all. It will be an occasion for Kenyans to see how we cannot run a government and how we cannot auction a nation.
Just to assure them that this postponement of this case, the adjournment to the 17th for the LSK case, and this case to the 27th, does not mean that the conservatory orders are no longer there, and therefore Adani will take over. No, the conservatory orders that have been given in the LSK case, which is a case related to this, and we shall be seeking consolidation of these cases, means that Adani will not still do anything until these matters are heard and determined.
At least I'm really happy. I love the way this is progressing. The fact that, Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa are now taking up things that the opposition should have been taking. Like this Adani deal. It smells from here to high heaven. It doesn't matter how, people or the government tries to make it. It doesn't matter which side of government, whether it's ODM or KK, that tries to make it look clean. There's just something about it that does not smell right. And instead of rushing it, what they would have done is go an extra mile to basically educate Kenyans and tell them this is what the Adani deal is about. Put the papers on the desk, on the table, and let people see and know. Like, we'll be looking at the newspapers later on, and you'll discover that the KAA board did not approve Adani deal. And that's what the aviation workers are telling the court. So if that's the case, why are we in a hurry? I mean, why are we in a hurry unless we're in a hurry to hide something? It's very unfortunate. But anyway, supporters of former Mungiki leader Maina Jenga burst into songs at the Nakuru Law Courts after he was acquitted of criminal charges against him. This is after the prosecution dropped the criminal case against him and 11 others for lack of evidence. Jenga was charged with 7 counts of being a member and a leader of the outlawed Mungiki gang. Together with the co-accused persons, Maina had been accused of engaging in organized crimes and planning criminal activities at his house in Wanyoro, Nakuru County, on the 12th of May last year. Jenga had been seeking to have charges against him dropped, challenging the authenticity of the charges against them about the outlawed Mungiki sect.
That the prosecution does not possess sufficient evidence to sustain any of the charge against any of the accused persons. In the end, I allow the prosecution's application to withdraw the charge under Section 87A of the CPC. Each accused person is discharged accordingly, and I direct that the cash pay deposited by each of the accused persons in court be refunded to the respective depositors.
Maina Jenga is a very interesting chap in the sense that, he calls himself a pastor right now. But let's just say it's going to take a long time for me to believe that happened. I'm not going to judge him, but we have been told we can question things, right? I mean, don't just take everything on face value. You have a right to question, just like I'm questioning. I don't know whether he's a pastor. I don't believe he's a pastor. And if he is, I doubt whether he's a pastor of a faith like you and I believe in, the faith in our Lord Jesus Christ. That's my 20 cents worth of comment there. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has been named the Deputy Party Leader of the United Democratic Alliance, or UDA. The UDA, the National Executive Committee, or NEC, held a meeting yesterday where it resolved to replace former DP Rigathi Gachagua, who served as the party's deputy leader. While reading the resolution, UDA chairperson Cecily Mbarire and Secretary General Hassan Omar said they arrived at the decision following the successful impeachment of Rigathi last month, hence rendering him incapable of discharging his duty as the deputy party leader. His predecessor, Gachagua, was impeached by the National Assembly on the 8th of October, a decision that was upheld by the Senate on the 17th of the same month.
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua is unable to perform the duties of the office of the Deputy Party Leader and subsequently ceases to hold office as Deputy Party Leader. The National Executive Committee now resolves to designate His Excellency Professor Kithure Kindiki, EGH, as the Deputy Party Leader of the United Democratic Alliance Party, effective immediately.
Therefore, I am very clear in my mind what we need to do as a party going forward. Of course, the second role, which has been bestowed on you again with a lot of humility this morning, I accept. Other than being a party member, to now serve as Deputy Party Leader. In that role, I expect to assist our party leader as he steers our party, as he steers the country, as the leader also of the country at the moment, so that some of the functions that he delegates to me, requests me to assist in, or I am asked to assist in by the party, I'll be more than able, more than willing and available to assist in.
You know, a lesson that I learned a long time ago and has really helped me is No one is indispensable. No one. Only God. Whatever position you hold in your office is temporal. Wherever you are, the position where you are at is temporal. And don't ever think that you're so important that you cannot be replaced. Because I tell you, the moment Gachagua was out of that place, Kindiki is in. It's the same thing with life. You think you're very indispensable, I promise you. You're removed today, or you pass on where, your office, and immediately people start plans to replace you because life has got to go on. So always keep that in mind. No one is indispensable, including this man who is suspected of being behind a Telegram group for distributing leaked KCSE examination material to parents and students, who was arrested. Stephen Nyang'au, what kind of a name is that? Was nabbed by detectives attached to the Kenya National Examination Council and their Masaba North counterparts after a surveillance operation. Mbeshe is said to have created the group named KCSE 2024 Leakage Group, where he distributed examination papers while exploiting candidates and parents. Photos from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, or DCI, show that the group had garnered 802 members, and the suspect asking for upfront payment before distributing the papers. DCI added that a search at Mbeche premises resulted in the seizure of a mobile phone and a laptop, the supposed tools of trade he used. The suspect is being processed for prosecution. You know the strangest thing? Be careful what you call your kids. This guy is called Nyang'au. You and I know what Nyang'au means. God have mercy. Now, 5 people were killed last night in 3 separate attacks in Isiolo and Samburu counties. Deputy Inspector General Police Gilbert Masengele coordinated police response operations in the region and issued a stern warning to those involved in cattle rustling. Now, according to Masengele, who spoke to journalists at the Isiolo police grounds, the attacks occurred at Bojidera in Isiolo, where 2 police officers lost their lives. A second attack took place at Olabulu village at the outskirts of Isiolo town, resulting in 1 fatality, while a 3rd incident happened across the Wasonyiro River in neighboring Samburu County.
At around 00:20 hours in Bojidare area, a known number of suspected bandits armed with assault rifles invaded Manyata while shooting, and in the process they stole about 250 herds of cattle and 300 goats. NPR, Kenya Police, as to NPR, the officers trailed and recovered all the 300 goats plus 30 cows during the incident, and 2 people lost their lives and 3 others were injured. The injured have been evacuated to Isiolo District Hospital for treatment, while the deceased handed over to their families for burial according to the Muslim rites. Secondly, today at around 00:35 hours in Holapule area, a known number of bandits armed with assault rifles invaded a home and started shooting before stealing 19 herds of cattle. The NPR, the police officers responded and established that 1 man had been fatally shot, while other persons, including NPR officers, sustained gunshot wounds. All the 19 animals have been recovered and the body have been moved to Isiolo County Hospital for mortuary, Isiolo mortuary for preservation. In that instance, 2 bandits were fatally shot across River Waso area under Samburu East, and a total of 211 herds of stolen cows recovered. I am here, I've been to the area in order to coordinate the operation that is ongoing with the officers who are already on the ground to ensure that normalcy is returned. Here with me is the regional police commander, who will live here also to coordinate in coordination with the county security team to ensure that all those hearts that were stolen were recovered. Also, I appeal to the members of the public and those affected to remain calm. The government, we are doing our level best to ensure that we recover those animals and also those culprits who have done the heinous act.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that people are still losing their lives due to, it's a senseless act of violence as people try to steal cattle from one another, and they think cows are more important than people. That's why I keep on saying, let's pray for this nation, because in certain areas, the sacredness of life, the sanctity of life is not upheld. Now, you know, that name Nyang'au actually just disturbed me, because Nyang'au is a hyena. Now, we all know a hyena is a very, very greedy animal. No one would like to be associated with hyenas. No one. And it's important, from what little I've been taught of the scriptures, names have meanings. And you call somebody and you call out that nature in them. You call somebody Shalom, and you call out a peaceful, prosperous nature in their lives. You call your child Nyang'au. Let's take a look at what is happening in the newspapers today. All right. So don't call your child Judas, because if you do, he will betray people. Let's take a look at the Standard newspaper, where it's home of wash cleaners. This should be a very interesting read. A government report points to a worrying trend where money launderers have found a safe haven. The rise in suspicious financial transaction over the past 2 years shows the multi-billion shilling illicit trade is not only thriving, but putting the economy under pressure. Wash. If you see people who drive big cars, and you cannot explain where they get their money. It's not like they sell anything. They don't sell a service. They don't sell, goods. They don't have real estate. But they just have money. You have tick. You have every reason to question. There's shops within the CBD, which I have never ever seen clients. But those shops are constantly open. You hardly see anybody sell anything, but the people are doing extremely well. So you wonder, who do they sell to? Spirits? Because you never see anyone going to the shops. Then we have intrigues as Gachagua drops Ruto lawyer. Interesting. Maybe he doesn't trust the guy, but you want to find out exactly what happened, get the newspaper and read it. How lack of basic knowledge denies Kenyans justice. Then KAA board did not approve the Adani deal. Aviation workers tell the court. That would be a very unfortunate thing, and hence the reason why we are saying, don't rush this thing. Prisons crowded with remandees unable to pay shillings 1,000 bail. Sad. Retired KDF officers protest delayed benefits and compensation. Dangerous people to deal with. You don't want to keep these guys unhappy. Illicit wealth fuels economy widens the gap between the rich and the poor. High Court strikes out rules giving state powers on television content. Interesting reads. I'm telling you that so that you can buy your newspaper and know. At the back, you got Salah takes AFCON break after leaving Villa. Ruined. I mean, this guy has been on the roll. Egypt, Captain Mohamed Salah has been excused from Africa Cup of Nations duty after creating the first goal and scoring the second for Liverpool in a 2-0 Premier League win over Aston Villa. I need to remember, when is the African Cup of Nations? Then you have the Star newspaper, a visionary secrets to Ndegwa's success at Safaricom. It says he reminds us true leadership is about lifting others and making an impact. True that. He's not just a CEO, he's a leader with a heart, a visionary who understands the pulse of the nation he serves. Then, male breast cancer survivor shares stories of hope. You know, men keep on thinking, we keep on thinking that breast cancer is only for women. There are men who've developed breast cancer. So it's good to do what you need to do to check yourself. Mother's plea to save life of daughter with rare condition. The second page, oh man. If you can see the picture of this lady with a rare condition, you will join the mother in the plea to save her. It's a sad state. And she's only 12-year-old, Nicolina, who suffers from Marfan syndrome. Read that to find out what that is. Court reduces death sentence to 30 years for 2 mob killers. Then the back page of the Star, you have Shuja upbeat ahead of Dubai. I only played rugby once. I didn't like it at all. The injuries. It's such a violent game, you know, such a violent game. And let's just say, you know, I had not gone to the gym to build muscles like I have now. So I was a little bit a weakling. Then you have the Daily Nation. Plum job for 6 billion oil scam suspect. Oh, yeah. This is funny. Trade Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuri is on the spot for allegedly influencing the appointment of Lucy Anangwe as the managing director of the Kenya National Trading Corporation, despite being adversely mentioned in the 6.5 billion edible oil scandal. You know, it's weird. It gets to a place where you start asking yourself, do you have to be involved in a scam for you to get some of these plum jobs in Kenya? Because this one is adversely mentioned. Adversely mentioned. I don't know whether she was involved but she was adversely mentioned in the 6.5 billion shilling edible oil scandal. And now she's been given a plum job, a big job in the government. Anyway, new petition seeks to reserve secret Adani deals. Katiba Institute has challenged the constitutionality of some sections of the Public-Private Partnership Act over the Adani Group deals, arguing that the exclusion of Parliament from public-private partnership agreements violates the Constitution. Totally agree. This is a sad case of a lady who walked out of home only to be found dead 30 days later. This story, surely, You're given a job and you are bank accredited Jivanji title deed as security for the 1.9 billion loan after conducting due diligence. Fresh petition now seeks to reverse Adani deals. Rambo in the mountain, Gachagua ouster, Ruto allies, and 2027 battle. Should be some interesting read. Then the back page of the Nation, drama as varsities give dawns notice, walk back. You know what? At times you read these newspapers and you wonder, is there anything good? Let's me and you, let's look at, let's intentionally try and look for good things happening in the dailies, stories. Because you are what you consume, right? If you hear the silence, it's because I'm looking for some good stories. I don't know whether this is categorized as good story, but maybe it is, I don't know. Raila's campaigns for African Union. Oh, it's not a good story because the campaigns have been hit by a cash crunch. Maybe this one, innovator speech ideas as NMG explores AI solutions in media. And there was silence in heaven for around 30 minutes. As, trust me, you need to use a toothpick to find some, you know, what you can call positive stories here. Now in the Standard, hey. For real. This is very interesting. What? At least for people in Central Bank, CBK has retained the top spot in Kenya's wealthiest parastatal list. Does that qualify as a good story, as a positive story? I guess so. The sports section, unless you're a Liverpool fan, with Liverpool beating Aston Villa. That's how difficult it is. You'll have to go around the world 17 times before you get some good news. But we got some good news, right? We got some good news. This is a station where you'll always find good news. We tell you things about Christ. We tell you things about yourself that God has said about you. We tell you about how, apart from spending eternity with God if you're born again, how you can be able to live in heaven on earth. How you can impact your life and the lives of other people positively wherever you are. Your mouth was not given just for eating. I know probably that's the major role some people have their mouths for. But your mouth was actually given for you to chart your future. You speak your future by your words. If you don't speak, somebody else is going to speak for you and you will live out your script. I have discovered in life that unless you write the script of your life, somebody is going to write the script and you're going to act out the character in that script. You will never discover yourself. So you have to get to a point whereby you take the pen and you write the script of your life in line with the Word of God. When you do that, you will always know how the script or how this movie called life is going to turn out. Why? Because you participated in writing the script. But if somebody else writes a script for you and you leave out that particular script, you just never appeared on earth. You never impacted people on this earth because you never lived the life that God had scripted you for. So find out, which script are you living? Are you living the script of your dad? Are you living the script of your teacher? Are you living the script of your boss? Are you living a script of somebody who thinks you're not worthy? Are you living that script? Once you discover whose script you're living, then you're able to change the script. There's a script that was written by God just for you. Find it, live it, and see the impact you'll have in this life. Before you exit this life, don't be like Simon Makonde, who was born on Monday. By Sunday, he was dead. And the only worthwhile thing he did was he gave birth, had children. With that, we bring the curtains down on the show. To have yourself a lovely morning.